This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most, so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. First game on Saturday is a big one. Number 10 Miami at number 7 Texas A&M, noon Eastern Time on ABC and ESPN. The winner of this game will move on to the Cotton Bowl in the quarterfinal round to take on the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. It's a game between the only two teams that beat Notre Dame this year, which ultimately got Miami into the playoff with a 10-2 record because Miami had the same record, of course, as Notre Dame, and it's a pretty similar resume to Notre Dame too. That head-to-head victory that Miami had over Notre Dame got them over Notre Dame, who was the final team left out of the college football playoff. The Aggies, meanwhile, also made their first playoff in school history, just like Miami did this year too. Texas A&M with an 11-1 record on the year. They started the year off with a perfect 11-0 record on the season before losing in the finale to Texas. Again, whoever wins this game move on to the Cotton Bowl in the quarterfinal round to take on Ohio State.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The road for each of these two teams to get here, especially with Miami having to scratch and claw all the way to the end, and eventually, you mentioned it, that head-to-head matchup against Notre Dame really was the biggest factor. And then Texas A&M, I think, really in an interesting spot here, starting 11-0 and then losing in Austin to the Texas Longhorns, obviously the rival, missing out on the SEC title game. So a couple weeks to sit here and stew on it, but they get to go back home to the 12th man down there, and this is obviously going to be a really fun game between two really good football teams.
I'm really excited to watch this game, Dalton. Start with the Miami offense first. You have the Miami passing game against Texas A&M's pass defense. What should we know in that matchup?
So the more you watch this Miami offense, and they've leaned into it more as the year has gone on, it is so centered around the true freshman sensation receiver, Malachi Toney. And you just look at all of the different things he does for this offense. He really is, when you talk about a guy who is, and you know, the coaches talk about all the time, screen games and RPOs and guys who can win after the catch. Those guys are extensions of the run game. That really is the case with Toney, right? When he has the most catches and yards on screen passes in the country this year. He's a vital part. Generally, when they run RPOs, he is the pass part of that with whatever, if it's a quick out, if it's a screen, if it's a glance route over the middle, however they want to get him the football, they can do that. But he can beat man coverage. He can get vertical. He has a good understanding of zone coverage. He's just such a dominant force in their passing game. And already as a true freshman, it's been unbelievable to see his development. And they've leaned more and more into him this season as the year has gone on. But third in the nation in receiving grade, a 90.5 receiving grade, third in yards after catch, second in missed tackles forced, second in slot receiving grade. You're going to see him a lot matched up with the nickel corner Tyreek Chappelle for Texas A&M's defense. That's going to be a one-on-one matchup you see a lot, and you see again down there on the bottom, most yards in the country on screens. Now, an interesting stat for Texas A&M, two of them, all right? 7th fewest yards per attempt allowed on targets to slot receivers, and the fewest yards per attempt allowed on screen passes in the nation this season, 2.4 yards per attempt. They rally to the football. They give you a lot of different zone looks where they drop off and rotate, and they get their first-level defenders, especially where they want to. But that's the effort that it's going to take to tackle Toney. If you try to leave somebody out there one-on-one to tackle him, it's probably not going to happen. Mike Elko's defense has got to rally to the football. They have to be aware of at all times where Malachi Toney is on the field, because he can line up anywhere. It could be on the slot. It's occasionally on the outside. It's in the backfield. It's kind of lined up in this condensed look as an inline guy in these bunch formations. He can throw the football. We know there's going to be 2 or 3 trick plays involving him as well. So to me, the focus in the passing game just has to be all eyes in the back seven of this defense on Malachi Toney at all times, because if there's a play where you forget where he is or you lose him in motion, you're going to have a serious problem after the catch.
Just like the Ty Simpson video, there's also a video that we did, a film breakdown on Malachi Toney, what makes baby Jesus one of the most electric players and one of the most fun players to watch in the country this year too. So check that out on the channel after, of course, this show. And also, Dalton, I think if they take away Malachi Toney and those short screens and all the other short passes that they have to him are gone, that A&M pass rush against Miami's offensive line, that's going to be a must-see matchup, because right now Miami has the 4th best pass blocking grade in the country. Texas A&M has the 8th best pass rush grade in the country. And we know how much Carson Beck likes to operate from a clean pocket, so I think that's going to be a key matchup to watch too.
And he's been pressured less than any quarterback by far in college football this year. Part of that also is he has, I believe, one of the 10 fastest average time to throws in the country. When you're talking about Beck, he's not going to improvise late in plays. Can you find ways to make him hold the football just a little bit longer, right? If his normal average time to throw is around 2.4, can we get that to 2.8, 2.9? Can you make him hold the football an extra half beat? Maybe it's making a switch, maybe a little more press man coverage than Texas A&M is used to playing. Maybe it's just making him, even in the run game, maybe it's just on those RPOs, just make him hand it off and make them run into the teeth of the defense instead of letting Toney get out in the open space. So that's going to be a big thing, right? Give Cassius Howell just that extra beat to get off the edge against a very good Miami offensive line, because Beck is not going to improvise. If he has to stand there, it's going to be a real problem for him.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that matchup. Hopefully we get a lot of Cassius Howell against Francis Mauigoa, 2 guys who should be first-round picks in the draft. This is going to be an awesome matchup to watch on Saturday. I'm looking at the Miami run game, and can Miami just find some answers and kind of take the pressure off of Carson Beck a little bit against, at times, what has been a vulnerable Texas A&M run defense this year. Listen, Miami's got a great offensive line and pass blocking and also run blocking this year too, and also a very good stable of running backs for the Hurricanes too. Hurricanes right now are 10th in run blocking grade on the year and 21st in successful run rate on the year. And their running back, the top running back, Mark Fletcher Jr., right now 11th in the FBS with a 90 rushing grade on the season. Miami gets very downhill in their run scheme. They run inside zone or gap runs 78% of the time. Now, Texas A&M, their run defense has been pretty solid overall this year, but right now, 5.5 yards per carry, the 6th worst in the Power 4, 3.9 yards after contact per carry allowed. That's the 4th worst mark in the entire country. The Aggies also allow 5.4 yards per carry on inside zone or gap runs, the scheme that Miami runs a lot. That's 115th in America too. Texas A&M, they have struggled to defend the run really on the 2nd and 3rd levels of the defense. I know Torian York is a fantastic linebacker too, but they got to bring their hard hats this week, the defensive backs and the linebackers for Miami in run defense, or else Miami can get right downhill on them in their run game and, make it a lot easier for Carson Beck in that offense.
No, absolutely. I think, you look at, it's a team effort when you talk about the 2nd level of this defense, right? So often, yes, the linebackers are in the spotlight. Torian York, Damian Sanford's been really good this year too. Waiting to see possibly if they get another linebacker back and Scooby Williams back from injury in this game, but it's going to take a team effort, and honestly, you're going to see some fun battles on that first level. Big Albert Regis on the inside is going to be a player to watch against Miami's interior offensive line, but Miami, you're right, they get downhill and they really play around again. I think it goes together, the RPO and everything they do with Toney on the outside. It plays into the box count, and Carson Beck is very good at reading the box count, reading the leverage of defenders, and deciding whether to hand it off or whether to throw it. That's going to be a big factor, and like you mentioned, Mark Fletcher is really a guy who's hard to tackle, especially in the box when everything gets muddy in there. So look, Miami on both sides of the ball is going to want to be really, really physical. We'll get to the other side, but that offensive line really is the first heartbeat of this offense.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to the Texas A&M offense and their run game against Miami's run defense. Dalton, what should we know about that matchup?
Yeah, to me, look, a lot of A&M's rushing metrics, a lot of them are pretty even. And you talk about, they run a lot of inside zone. They're going to get between the tackles. They got a big offensive line that really, they don't mess around a whole lot, right? Sometimes they'll get a front side puller going with one of these guards and they'll try to get out on the edge that way. But a lot of times it's just a matter of them wanting to be, like Miami, the more physical team downhill in the run game. One of the splits I do see, though, is they're a little more effective when they can run to the right side behind Armaj Reed Adams at right guard and Demetrius Crownover at right tackle, 2 guys who are very likely going to be NFL players very soon here. When they run to the right side, okay, when they get to the A gap on the right side of the center and over towards that sideline, 86 rushing grade, 6.1 yards per carry. Again, that's behind Reed Adams and Crownover. When they go to the other side, the left side, from that A-gap on the left side of the center to that sideline, that rushing grade goes down to 79.8 and only 4.7 yards per carry. Whichever, especially of these two edge rushers, Ruben Bain or Akeem Mesidor, is lined up on the right side of that offense over Crownover, I think they really have a lot of pressure on them to keep contained and then squeeze the gap down over Crownover to really prevent them creating those big plays off the right side. But that also goes with any sort of jet sweep or any option game that can come with that as well. But that's the one split to me that I see with Texas A&M's run game, is they're a little better running to their right than they are to their left behind those two NFL players on that right side. That's something I expect to be a focus, and it's going to be fun to see Crownover, especially at right tackle, against Bain and Mesidor, whichever one is there on any given play.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that matchup too. But I'm going to go talk about the Texas A&M passing game against Miami's pass defense, and really, can Miami consistently pressure Marcel Reed with only a 4-man rush right now? Because, listen, we talk about it time and time again. Marcel Reed has been really inconsistent this year with his decision-making, and his accuracy is 18 turnover-worthy plays on the year, the 8th most among Power 4 quarterbacks, only a 52% accurate pass rate this year. It's the 15th worst mark among 141 quarterbacks in the country this year. Now, Marcel Reed has some pretty interesting splits in PFF grade by situation right now. When Marcel Reed is kept clean, he has a 76 passing grade, which is okay overall, honestly. When he's under pressure, only a 47.8 passing grade. When he's not blitzed, though, you would think it'd be bad because when he's under pressure, it's actually 55.5. So you'd think that, when he's kept clean and not blitzed, it'd be similar. It's actually not. Only a 55.5 PFF grade when he's not blitzed. When he is blitzed, 81.7. So you're wondering, okay, wait, how is he so bad under pressure, but really good when he's blitzed? And how is he pretty good when he's kept clean, but not as good when he's not blitzed? Marcel Reed is really good from a clean pocket, but he kind of struggles to read defenses right now with 7+ defenders in coverage. He is capable, when he is blitzed, he is very capable of either throwing to his hot routes or taking off and running with his elite mobility too, if defenses send extra rushers. Therefore, I think the key for Miami's defense in this game is to get home with only 4 rushers against Marcel Reed. And listen, Miami does blitz at the 13th highest rate in the country at about 49%. It is not out of necessity, though, because right now Miami has a 93.2 defensive line grade, second in the nation, only behind, of course, Texas Tech. You obviously have Ruben Bain Jr., you have Akeem Mesidor, two guys who are going to be either, in Bain's case, a top 5 pick in the draft, in Mesidor's case, probably a 2nd or 3rd round pick in the draft. They're right now 2 of the 5 highest graded edge rushers in the nation. And when Miami does not blitz, it still has the 6th highest pressure rate in America at about 38% this year. So I think Miami would be smart to not send extra rushers in this game. Drop back in coverage with 7 guys in coverage and let your front 4, which has been one of the best defensive lines in the country, let them get after Marcel Reed. But that's easier said than done, though, because right now Texas A&M, 78.1 pass blocking grade. That's 20th in the country. They have a star left tackle in Trey Zune, 96.9 pass blocking grade on the year for Zune. That is 3.5 points higher than any other offensive lineman in the country. And actually, Dalton, he had a pretty interesting quote about Ruben Bain Jr. Going into this game. He said, quote, "I don't think he'll be a threat that we need to worry about too much right now." That was Trey Zune's quote about Ruben Bain Jr. Again, Bain, one of the highest graded edge rushers in the country. Zune has the highest pass blocking grade among all offensive linemen in the country too. So if Miami can get home with only 4 rushers against Marcel Reed, that will cause a lot of problems for Marcel Reed and the Aggies offense.
You're absolutely right. Bain and Mesidor have combined for 102 pressures and 15 sacks this year, and that's going to be the fun matchup. Ruben Bain, Akeem Mesidor versus Trey Zune and Demetrius Crownover. I mentioned Crownover in the run game. Well, he's going to be just as important in the passing game, and you're right. I think Miami, they've been blitzing more so as the year has gone on, I think just to mix up the looks and not constantly put all the pressure on those 4 guys up front, and especially those 2 edge rushers to make all of the pass rush production happen. But you're right. When you blitz a guy like like Marcel Reed, two things it does. Number one, it just opens up his mobility, right? If he feels the need to break the pocket early, then he's going to use his legs to beat the blitz. There's a lot of quarterbacks who do that. He is certainly one of them. And the other thing is it makes the windows just a little bit bigger, right? Because there's less guys in coverage. The more that you send, the more space there is out there to work with and just get the ball to one-on-one situations to Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. But that's really the battle in any obvious passing situation. Really, any situation, to be honest with you, is going to be about when you play this Miami Hurricanes team, you have to find a way to control Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. If they dominate this football game, they can shut you down. If you find your way around them, and you're not going to win every battle, but if you find your way around them enough, then you're going to be okay. But this game really is, in both sides, I think, to me, going to come down to the battle of those four players, Bain and Mesidor, Zune and Crownover.
Yep. Can't wait for this game on Saturday at noon. Dalton, ultimately, who will win in this battle between the two teams that beat Notre Dame this year, and who will move on to play Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl in the quarterfinals?
This is such a fun one. I think you're going to get a physical war, a trench war of a football game on both sides of the ball. Two great offensive lines, two great defensive lines with potential first-round picks on their hands. And I think the other thing this game comes down to, maybe even more so than the first game we talked about, which quarterback keeps their composure. Which one? It's that simple to me, especially with the pressure they're going to be under. And for Miami, it's going to be in a very loud road environment with the 12th man down there in Texas A&M. Turnover margin, I think, really could decide this game. We've seen in the past, even this year, say the Louisville game, and even when he really didn't need to make the one bad throw of the game against SMU, Carson Beck, when he's thrown out of rhythm and he starts pressing, he can get into those turnover spurts, right? Marcel Reed, same thing. We saw the first half against South Carolina. Things didn't look great against Texas either in that loss. So two quarterbacks who really need to keep their cool. I'm going to take the veteran in Carson Beck. I do think it's going to be a very defensive game. Obviously, we didn't get any road wins from the first four games last year in the playoffs. I'm going to take one here with Miami. Hard-fought defensive game. Eventually, whoever to me wins the turnover margin will win this game. I'm taking the Hurricanes 23-20.
Okay. So, yeah, like you mentioned before, no road wins last year in the first round of the playoff. I'm predicting 2 in the first round of the playoff. I also have Miami winning this game. I have it 28-24. I think Marcel Reed is going to struggle against this Hurricanes defense, and I think Carson Beck and, more importantly, the Miami run game will find some answers against Texas A&M's run defense. So I think the Hurricanes will win this game and set up a date with Ohio State in the quarterfinals at the Cotton Bowl. I have Miami 28-24 over Texas A&M.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok gurus sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff. Because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter. By game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.